Franklin, in my opinion, has made a few mistakes. Not everything was gonna go his way, but should he have listened to his right hand Louie and sided with Skully instead of Manboy? And is it over between Franklin and Leon, or can they patch things up before it's too late? I'm talking all things Franklin Saint and what's next for him as we move into episode 3. So welcome back to MovieBot. Let's talk Snowfall season 4, Franklin Saint. So hope you're all doing great and welcome to the storyline breakdown of Franklin Saint and his mistake of choosing Manboy over Skully, his relationship between Leon and all the troubles that Franklin is going to be facing as we move forward into season 4 of Snowfall. But if you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Snowfall related over the next 2 months and everything Power Universe related as well once it's back, of course. But let's dive deep into this Franklin Saint storyline because we had a double bill episode last week and the beef between Skully and Manboy isn't just about territory, an eye for an eye and getting your own back in blood. Both Manboy and Skully want blood, but one of the main things is it's affecting Franklin Saint's business. People don't actually want to be out there on the corner selling right now because of what happened with Bootsy and how Skully strung him up. So this is going to have a knock-on effect because if they ain't selling, there's a problem for Franklin, and Louie actually said in episode 1 that it's messing up their whole business. So Franklin said he wanted to pick a side, Manboy or Skully, get one or the other to set them up, ambush them, make them disappear or the bodies, and I was so shocked that he picked Manboy over Skully, especially considering Louie herself advised that they would go with Skully. Jerome said that if they were to pick sides then he's going to pick Manboy, and Peaches seems to agree with him because of what they did to Bootsy. They know how crazy and unpredictable Skully can be. I mean, the dude is one crazy son of a bitch. He's got an erratic personality, a love for extreme violence, which showed in his handling of Bootsy, and he is capable of hurting people, killing people, without even showing remorse. I posed a question in my previous video and I spoke about in my review and recap that he is one of the most craziest TV characters that I've ever seen. I asked the question was, is there another crazier character that compares to him? And a lot of people actually said Tuco Salamanca, and I actually agree with this. Breaking Bad's and Better Call Saul's Tuco Salamanca was crazy. He also had a love for extreme violence and actually took pleasure in hurting people. Just like the skater dudes in the early stages of Better Call Saul, Tuco broke both their knees, showed pleasure in harming others, and his erratic personality and love for violence is echoed with Skully's character. And this is why Jerome and Peaches said that they would rather go with Manboy. Maybe they feared that at some stage they'd be on the wrong side of Skully, and they were probably afraid of what Skully would do to them. And it is true to a certain extent. There's no way of knowing what Skully would do in the future, especially when he's just high taking wet PCP like he did before the meet at the beginning of episode 2. But having said that, Skully does fall in line. He stays in his lane and is more manageable than Manboy is, because as crazy as Skully is, as long as you leave him be, he really won't cause you issues. Manboy is always testing Franklin, and they've had continuous problems before with Leon taking his territory and the beef between Leon where Franklin had to force Leon to give his territory back to Manboy and leave his people be. Louie said that Manboy is always trying to test them, trying to take a territory, find a better deal. He's smart, he's ambitious as anybody she's ever seen, and she said that if they backed him and once he was done with Skully, she said that they would be next on his list. And I completely agree with what Louie said, and this is why she's Franklin's right hand. She was running things while he wasn't able to, she carried the business, she knows best. But Franklin, honestly, I just don't know what made him choose Manboy. Was he scared? Was he shook of what Skully is capable of? The crucifix move that Skully played with Manboy's boy, but did that kind of sway his decision? When Franklin went to go visit Skully and said that he wanted to help him out, wipe Manboy out, Skully gave him his warning to Franklin. He said that if he screws him over, then he's gonna send every man to fuck up his world. And I spoke about Franklin's vulnerability. He's going to be more vulnerable this season, and I think Skully took advantage of this, mainly because Franklin let him, and because Franklin just isn't quite right, physically and mentally. I don't think Franklin has recovered yet from what happened to him at the end of last season, and he's really started season 4 making these wrong decisions. I don't think this season will finish with Franklin suffering a loss either. Skully gave him his warning that he's going to send everybody to fuck up his world, and I do think at some point Skully will get revenge, and revenge in the most brutal way that will hurt Franklin Saint, and I think this has to be some sort of turning point for Franklin Saint's character. I think it's going to take something like a big loss for him to get really his mind right, get back on the right track, turn seriously savage. And I don't mean such a loss such as Peaches. I predicted him to die in an earlier video, but as episodes 1 and 2 unraveled, I actually think Franklin's father could die at some point, especially with the journalist snooping around. Alton, if she writes a piece on Alton and digs even deeper, it's gonna prove costly for Irene. Of course, she's the Jabari of Snowfall, but at some point it's gonna prove costly for Alton as well. And with Skully now after Franklin, I do think Franklin will suffer some sort of major loss this season, and even if it's not Alton, I think it will be someone else that will have Franklin's world come crashing down even further, and this is why I think he needs Leon even more. So let's talk about Franklin and Leon. Is it over between Franklin and Leon? That's the question. I seriously hope not, because these two brothers, they need to patch things up, and they need to patch things up quick. I said before that I really hate seeing them fight like this, because you know that Franklin needs Leon and Leon needs Franklin. You can say that both have been at fault and made mistakes with one another at some stage. Leon needs to get over the fact that Kevin's death was an accident. Franklin had to do what he had to do, otherwise Kevin was going to create an all-out war. But again, it wasn't the smartest of decisions from Franklin to invite him to the New Year's party at the bar when he knew that Gustavo and Reed were going to be there because of the bad blood between Leon and Gustavo. And what did he expect to happen when Leon saw Gustavo, because he still blames him for their death of Kevin. The whole situation in episode 1 which panned out, this shit just wasn't going to go down well. Yeah, sure, Franklin told Gustavo and Reed to leave, but it didn't stop Leon from saying that he was done with Franklin and that they are done for good. So is Franklin and Leon really done for good? I personally don't think so. I think at some stage they will patch things up, because Franklin will realize that he needs Leon and his crew, and at some stage Leon will probably realize that he needs Franklin too. He ain't exactly got plugs lined up, and his crew needs bread as well. So I do think at some point they will patch things up. So is it over between them? I really hope not. And then you've got Officer Dickhead over here, Officer Nix, who's on a complete power trip with Franklin. Yeah, Franklin killed his best friend and partner, he's got in a lot of money to keep his mouth shut, and he's on a complete power trip which is going to eventually get him killed. He really is a dead man walking, and he's going to end up like his partner Andre at some point. Franklin is either going to kill him himself or he'll just have someone get rid of him for him. So Franklin really does have trouble from every single angle you can imagine. He's got the issues with Skully and Manboy, he picked the wrong side, and now he's got troubles with one of the most craziest in Skully, and it's not something you want while trying to expand your business. I think he'll lose someone close to him. Let me know if you think Franklin and Leon will patch things up and be the brothers again that we know they are, or is it actually over for them? Drop me your thoughts on Franklin and Leon, Officer Nix as well, who I think is a dead man walking already. It's just a matter of time before he gets dropped. And what about the journalist? Drop me your thoughts and predictions going forward for episode 3 and just generally the season ahead. I'll reply to all of your comments down below, and of course if you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Snowfall related. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.